A guy who's flown into Thailand 4 times a year for the last 5 years just got fingerprinted, detained at the airport, and put on a flight home. On his own dime, zero warning. And last video, my comments were wall to wall with people telling anyone eyeing the Philippines to forget it and just move to Thailand instead. Cleaner, safer, more organized. Well, funny story. So here's what actually happened, and by the end of this, you might rank Thailand versus the Philippines versus Vietnam completely differently. The announcement that started it, Thailand Immigration, puts out what they call a policy clarification. On paper, boring. They say visa-exempt entries. The stamp you get when you fly in without applying for a visa first are getting monitored more closely. Repeated entries without a clear tourism purpose could mean you get denied. Sounds fine, right? Except nobody defined repeated, nobody defined enhanced screening, nobody said when it actually kicks in. So, for about a week, it's just noise online. Half the internet says it's nothing, the other half says the sky is falling. Then the stories start rolling in. A guy from Europe lands in Bangkok, been coming 3 or 4 times a year for years, stays a month or 2, spends money, causes zero trouble. Immigration pulls him aside. Fingerprints, questions. They go through his entire entry history and say, "You've entered too many times on visa exemption, this isn't tourism, you're going back." He asks if he can just hop to a neighboring country and get a proper visa. Nope. Straight back to his home country, on his own dime, and he's held at the airport until the flight leaves. Another one, a guy doing the classic border run. 60 days in Thailand, extends 30 more, pops over to Cambodia or Malaysia for a night, comes straight back, resets the clock. Been doing it over a year. He crosses a land border, they stamp his passport, but instead of 60 days, he gets 7. 7. With a note that basically says, "Don't try this again." These aren't one-offs. This is happening enough at airports and land borders that visa agencies are now sending warning emails to clients. Expat forums are in full meltdown. And the thing everyone assumed that you could just keep tourist stamping your way through Thailand forever, that's just gone. What the actual rules say versus what's happening. Here's the annoying part. Go look up the official rules and they haven't really changed. Visa-exempt travelers from eligible countries get 60 days, 1 extension of 30 more, total 90. No written cap on how many times a year you can do that. That's the law on paper. Enforcement is a whole different animal. From what visa professionals and travelers are reporting, there's now an unofficial cap of 2 visa-exempt entries a year. Not written anywhere, just enforced, and they want those 2 spread out, 1 in the first half of the year, 1 in the second. Try for a third and you're getting questioned, maybe denied. Extensions are getting squeezed too. Officially 1 30-day extension per entry. Now it looks like you only get 1 extension total per year. Enter twice, extend once, try to extend the second stay, and you might get 7 days instead of 30, or nothing at all. And here's the bit nobody wants to say out loud. Thailand knows it doesn't need any one visitor as much as that visitor needs Thailand. There'll always be tourists, always be people who can afford elite visas, always be wealthy retirees who tick the income boxes. So Thailand can afford to be picky. What they might not realize is who they're pushing out. Usually it's the people who loved the place the most, the ones who came back every year, picked up some Thai, built actual relationships, spent consistently, even if not extravagantly, told all their mates to visit. Those people are now hearing, "Pay up or prove you're rich enough." And that breeds resentment that won't show up in a tourism report for years, but it'll show up eventually. So what do you actually do with this short-term tourist? Relax, you're fine. Nothing's changed for you. Frequent visitor? Start documenting everything differently, proof of accommodation, onward tickets, a clean story for why you keep coming back. Be ready to explain yourself. Been doing border runs. Stop. That era's over. Want to stay long term. Get an actual visa now, DTV, retirement, marriage, whatever fits. Don't gamble with a ban. Comparing Thailand to other countries. Factor in visa security, same as you'd factor in cost of living. It's not just, can I afford to live here anymore? It's, can I reliably stay here at all? Right now, the honest answer for Thailand is less reliably than before. Bottom line, Thailand just showed everyone that efficiency and order come with control. And control means the rules can change overnight, without warning, without mercy. The Philippines, dysfunctional as it is, doesn't have that kind of coordinated enforcement muscle, which means more cracks to slip through, which means more freedom, frustrating as that freedom can be. I'm not saying Thailand's wrong to enforce its own rules. Every country gets to decide who comes in. But this genuinely changes the conversation about where you spend your time in Southeast Asia. The thing everyone loved about Thailand, that it was easy, that it just worked, isn't true anymore for long-term visitors. And that's going to have consequences that stick around a lot longer than this news cycle. So if you've been affected by this, or you're rethinking your plans, drop a comment and tell me where your head's at, sticking with Thailand or looking elsewhere. This is Across Asia. No sugarcoating, no tourism board spin, just what's actually happening. See you in the next one. But the Philippines also has flexibility. You can extend a tourist visa there for up to 3 years. It's slow, it's annoying, it involves paperwork that feels designed to test your sanity, but they let you do it. Nobody's scrutinizing your passport for patterns. Nobody's shipping you home because you visited too many times. Thailand just proved that efficiency can be a trap. An organized system is also a rigid one. And when a rigid system decides you're not welcome anymore, there's no negotiating your way out. You're just done. The Philippines' dysfunction, ironically, creates room to breathe. Nobody's watching that closely because the system's too chaotic to crack down, even if it wanted to. I'm not saying that's better. I'm saying it's different, and if you value not having to justify your existence every time you land, that difference matters. Quick side by side. Visa flexibility. Philippines wins. Easily. 3-year extensions beat Thailand's new restrictions. Predictability, neither's great, but at least Philippine chaos is consistent. Thailand changed overnight without warning. Cost Philippines still cheaper, especially with Thailand pushing these premium visas. Deportation risk Philippines isn't deporting tourists for visiting often. Thailand now is. Long-term stability, Thailand's better if you can afford the buy-in. Philippines is more forgiving if you can't. And here's the kicker. The one thing Thailand always had over the Philippines was order-functioning systems, reliable infrastructure, the sense that things just work. But if things just working now means you can get detained and shipped home after years of trouble-free visits, is that really an advantage? Or is it just control with better branding? The rest of the region is taking notes. Vietnam's watching this. Cambodia's watching. Malaysia's watching. Even the Philippines is watching. And they're all realizing that being too strict can backfire. Vietnam's been aggressively improving its visa setup, extended exemptions, easier applications, positioning itself as the modern, efficient option without the crackdown energy. And people are noticing. You can already see the shift in who's moving there. Malaysia's marketing itself as stable and foreigner-friendly, with competitive long-term visas, and enforcement that's actually predictable. Even the Philippines is starting to look appealing by comparison. At least you know what you're getting. Dysfunction, but also freedom. For years, the default answer to where should I spend winter or where should I retire in Asia was just Thailand, obviously. That's not automatic anymore. Forums are full of people comparing visa policies across countries and weighing alternatives. Thailand's still got the food, the beaches, the culture. But none of that matters if you can't actually stay. What this really means, Thailand's at a bit of an identity crisis, honestly. For decades, the whole economy ran on being welcoming and easy, the land of smiles, come one, come all. Worked great, built industries, millions of jobs. But somewhere along the way, Thailand started resenting that dependence, started seeing long-stay tourists as people living cheap and exploiting loopholes rather than as contributors. So now they want a different kind of visitor, richer, more temporary, more taxable. This crackdown is Thailand trying to rewrite who it's for. Here's the risk, though. When you build a whole economy on being accessible and then suddenly you're not, you lose trust. And trust is expensive to rebuild. People don't just want beaches. They want to feel wanted, not managed. And border runs, officially declared inappropriate use of the visa-exempt system. Land borders are now watching for anyone with a pattern of quick exits and re-entries. Even airports are flagging it if your travel history shows the pattern. Here's where it gets genuinely messy, though. Does calendar year mean January to December or a rolling 12 months? Nobody knows, and different officers seem to interpret it differently. Is it stricter at land borders than airports? Mostly, but not always. Bangkok might wave you through. Chiang Mai might not. What about countries that still get 30 days instead of 60, same two-entry rule apply to them? Unclear. And the biggest question mark of all, what actually counts as too many entries? 5 short one-week trips a year should be fine on paper. Will the officer in front of you see it that way? Depends on his mood, his training, what his supervisor told him that morning. That's the real problem. It's not that the rules are harsh. It's that nobody, including the people enforcing them, agrees on what they are. And that uncertainty is what's actually scaring people off, who this actually affects. If you're doing a normal 2-week holiday, none of this touches you. Fly in, get stamped, leave when your trip's over, no issues at all. This is targeting a specific group people who've been using tourist stamps to basically live in Thailand long term. Retirees who aren't old enough yet for a retirement visa, splitting the year between Thailand and home. Digital nomads earning foreign income, not stealing anyone's job, just never bothering to get a proper visa, because the tourist route worked fine. People dating a Thai partner, not ready for marriage, so they keep flying in and out instead. None of these people are criminals. They just found a loophole and used it, and Thailand just closed it. But the collateral damage is hitting people who genuinely didn't think they were doing anything wrong. Someone who winters in Thailand every year, November to February, escaping the cold, completely reasonable. But if their passport shows the pattern repeating year after year, they're getting flagged too. And here's what's actually driving people crazy. The enforcement isn't consistent. 2 people with identical travel histories. One gets waved through, one gets detained and sent home. It's a lottery. And unpredictability is what makes people leave, not the rule itself. Why this is actually happening? Officially, Thailand says this is about stopping abuse, organized crime using tourist entries to run scams and illegal operations. And sure, that happens. But there's a layer nobody's saying out loud. Thailand doesn't want budget travelers living cheap off tourist visas anymore. They want wealthy long-term residents, people buying property, spending big, paying taxes. Look at what they've rolled out recently. The Destination Thailand Visa, 5 years, multiple entries, but you need about $14,000 sitting in your bank account. The long-term resident visa, aimed at pensioners and remote workers pulling in $80,000 a year or more. And the Elite Visa, restructured, starting around $15,000 for 5 years and going up to $60,000 for 20. Translation, if you want to stay long-term, pay up. And by making the free route scarier to use, they're pushing everyone toward the paid options. It's a business strategy wearing a law enforcement costume. And it's working. Visa agencies are seeing a surge in applications for proper long-term visas. But there's an unintended side effect. A lot of people aren't paying up. They're just leaving Thailand altogether. So, about that Philippines comparison, remember the 200+ comments telling me Thailand beats the Philippines? Let's revisit that. Yes, the Philippines has a reputation for chaos, inconsistent rules, corruption at every level. All true. Not disputing any of it.